I grew up in a border city in northern Mexico where different cultures, traditions, and ways of understanding life converge. Some people from the south of the country live there, having come in search of new opportunities. They have their own accent, cuisine, and even style of dress. There are also those who have emigrated to the United States but travel back and forth to reconnect with family and their personal history. Of course, there are also locals who, influenced by both sides of the border, freely use the currencies of both countries, create new words by blending languages, and move between the two environments as if they were one. In such a space of constant exchange, it is possible to feel part of multiple realities at the same time. From an early age, I learned that living on the border requires adaptation. One learns to move between different codes, adjust language, and adapt to context. It is a rich cultural experience, but it also carries a latent risk. If you are not clear about who you are, your future can end up being defined by your surroundings rather than by your convictions. Something similar happens today with many people. Some grow up between two families, the fathers and the mothers, with different dynamics, values, and expectations. Others are shaped by friendships linked to opposing sports teams, trends, social classes, or even conflicting schools of thought. In reality, we all live exposed to multiple cultural, ideological, and spiritual influences. In the midst of such diversity, it is easy to lean one way or another, adopting attitudes, preferences, and behaviors according to the group we associate with. But diversity itself is not the problem, nor are the decisions we make. In fact, it is valid to change teams, preferences, opinions, or even adopt another citizenship. Paul himself suggests in Romans 12:2 that we should not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. However, there are things that do not change. Our biological identity, for example, our DNA, our fingerprints, the way we walk, our gestures, and physical features inherited from our parents. No matter how much the environment influences us, in essence, we remain the same person. And even when we try to resemble others, certain traits inevitably reveal where we come from and who we are. In the business world, major companies regularly update brand colors, designs, and slogans according to growth strategies and trends. Yet the brands that endure are those that do not reinvent their purpose and mission. In other words, their identity. In the same way, our spiritual identity should not change, and for that to happen, it must be firmly rooted in Christ. Jesus expressed this clearly when he said that we live in the world, interact in the world, but are not of the world. John 15:19. This is not about isolating ourselves or disconnecting from reality. It is about remembering to whom we belong. We can engage in culture, work, build relationships, and serve without allowing the world to redefine who we are. The Apostle James uses a very instructive image to describe what happens when we fail to affirm our spiritual identity. He says that anyone who hears the word but does not put it into practice is like someone who looks at themselves in a mirror and then walks away, forgetting what they look like. James 1:22-24. In the mirror, we can see who we are, but without commitment, rootedness, or determination, that identity becomes fragile and easily altered. The second priority of the Inter-American Division Strategic Plan is represented by a sturdy tree trunk that supports the tree and transports nutrients from the roots to the branches, connecting the roots with the fruit. The initiatives within this priority seek precisely to strengthen each church member's identity in Christ through the implementation of training programs that develop servant leadership, reinforce Christian stewardship, and promote active discipleship, recognizing that we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. Ephesians 2:10. Through these efforts, the goal is to ensure that identity is not merely theoretical, but is expressed in lives prepared to live out the mission. It is also worth emphasizing that identity in Christ not only influences how we see ourselves, but also how others see us. When our identity is grounded in Him, it becomes evident not so much through what we say or avoid saying, but through our decisions, attitudes, and reactions. Through the coherence between what we believe and how we live. In a world shaped by social, cultural, and spiritual influences, Christ remains our firm foundation. Even when we live far from our place of origin or interact with those who do not share our values, He gives us stability and confidence in the place and time in which we are called to live. As we adopt the initiatives of the strategic plan, and in every activity we undertake, let us embrace this truth as our own. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. All things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17.